be a sponge, and then bring the juice.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Edge of Greatness. I'm so excited to have you here today. This is an incredible day. It's been a beautiful week. I started coaching last week. I'm feeling energized and pumped up. We're making progress on the house and the kitchen, and it's just everything feels like it's starting to come together. And it's interesting when you start to live your life on purpose, how things just kind of start to slowly align. It's been a beautiful couple days. It's been a beautiful week. I'm really ready for some springtime. I know last week I talked about the winter blues, or a couple weeks ago I talked about the winter blues, and it's feeling like we're inching away from that and getting into some good stuff. But today, before we get going, I want to tell you about a new show that I'm doing. It's called The Everyday Father, and it is a show about the application of the 7 pillars that I've worked and developed for the Edge of Greatness, and how I apply them in my life, how I use them to stay committed to my workouts, include my family, become a better father. And it's a lot of fun. It's a cool show that I'm excited about, that is going to be more of a behind the scenes kind of look. So like this, we get to sit, I coach, I sit, and then we talk and we hang out. But in this, I'm going to be up and about. I'm going to be out in my home gym. We're going to go for walks. We're going to be in different places while I kind of talk about how this applies to the different pillars. So if you've enjoyed this show at all, I think you'll really enjoy that one. And if you're looking for some healthy habits to include in your life, go check it out. The other thing I really want to mention today before we get into the episode, well, first, actually, did you guys notice you like the new gear? Yeah, just came in the other day, sporting the new stuff. If you are looking for some gear yourself, head over to ngbn.tv, use promo code EDGE10, and you can grab yourself some goodies. I got a zip up hoodie as well, which you'll see on the Everyday Father. I was rocking it during one of the episodes, and it's good stuff. And we're adding every day, so there's always some new stuff popping up on there. So go check it out. But I do want to mention that we are running an event. There's a special event that we have coming up on NGBN. It's our Equip Yourself, Save a Life event. And I think that this is an incredible opportunity for you to start to understand what our overarching mission is here on NGBN TV. And we truly do want to make an impact. We truly do want to make a difference. And we want to help you in your community recognize the signs of mental distress, mental health issues, depression, and what you need to do. And if somebody in your life starts to express dangerous thoughts, dangerous, words, and how do we approach that? So the event is taking place April 6th. Head over to ngbn.tv and you can sign up for the event, and we would love to see you there. So before we dive into Behind the Pillars, if you've enjoyed the content, I am looking for show sponsors. I'd love to have you sponsor a segment, get on a commercial when we have those coming up, and be part of the show. I think that those types of things help this show operate, helps me grow, helps me expand, helps me add new things. And I would love to connect with you if you are interested. Charles at theedgeofgreatnessproject.com. You can email me and we can communicate how best to work together to make this happen for you. So, but let's dive in. So today, Behind the Pillars, I want to take time today to talk about standards. And it's something that I feel is incredibly important. It's something that I always recognize at the beginning of every coaching season. So like I mentioned, softball coach, it started last week, had our first week of practice, and overall, very good week. But we had a couple kids, because we're a new staff, not realize the standards of what we expect from an organizational standpoint, from a team standpoint. And a few kids broke some of our standards, broke some of our rules. And therefore we had to hold them accountable. And they weren't used to that. They weren't ready for there to be consequences for their actions when they didn't understand, like, this is the expectation now. And too often we do the same thing in our life. We don't set standards, and then we don't keep them when we do, and it just leads to cutting corners, feeling like we can just willy-nilly our way through life. And we need standards because they create intention. A lack of standards leads to little to no intention. And intentional action is crucial for progress towards greatness. So, one of the things that we were struggling with within our organization is they were never asked to communicate. Communication wasn't a standard prior to us arriving. And so we had a couple girls miss practice without communicating, without telling us where they were, why they weren't there, what was going on. And to us, that's an unexcused absence. And so we had to create some opportunity for them to learn that this is a standard that we're going to uphold. And what I've noticed we start to hold ourselves accountable to the standards we set, people start to fall into line with what they need to do to live to those standards. And any great organization, any great person has standards for their life. They hold themselves accountable to a certain level of expectation on the things that they do. And these are the rules of life. These are the rules that we choose to follow. And the nice thing about standards is you get to set them. You might not get a big say if you're not the head of your organization, but the organization chose these standards, and then you chose to work for that organization. So therefore, they become your standards. But what I find a lot of times is we don't create heavy, difficult, challenging, high standards. And then because of that, we don't have actionable steps to help us to attack our purpose and our goals. And we have no direction, because without the standards, we lose direction. And that then leads to a lack of discipline and shaky commitments. And so when you look at this pillar that we're going to talk about today, it's commitment, because the standards are what we commit to doing on a regular basis, how we choose to live our life. We need to live by these high standards. We need to raise our standards as we get better at the ones that we have. And each step is a movement towards the thing we want most. So we're going to take a look at what it takes to create these standards. We're going to see how we maintain them and how we develop and evolve them. But first, we're going to take a short little break, and we'll dive more into this in the Coach's Corner right after this commercial break.
1 week after launching our exclusive sneak peek, NGBN TV was live for 3 days of continuous coverage from Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas.
NGBN TV is live from Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58.
The one-of-a-kind streaming TV network for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s was the conversation for the big game about men's mental health. And the world of athletes, celebrities, and influencers were on notice. But we're just getting started with new partnerships announced, like the Team Nike 3-on-3 Championship, and new platforms available to download the NGBN TV app. So, what are you waiting for? Download the app today from your favorite streaming device, or check us out at ngbn.tv. This is NGBN TV.
What's up? My name is Chris Rubio, and I'm the host of The Rubio Method on the NGBN TV network.
Focus up.
Long snapping and life are very, very similar.
We have a great show that's going to educate you, inspire you, and most importantly, entertain you. I say most importantly because that's what I really want to do. But we're just kind of going on this journey together, and I'm going to make sure as we go on this journey together, you're going to have a good time while doing it. So check out The Rubio Method on NGBN TV.
Hey, everybody, listen, join me, Doug Brooks, a.k.a. known as Big Time, on the Big Time Show podcast. He's seen on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central and on Saturday afternoons at 3 p.m. Central. You need to come on hang with me. You know why? It's going to be crazy. Yeah. Thank you, Brad.
Hello and welcome back to the Edge of Greatness. I'm excited to dive into today's Coach's Corner. And today's Coach's Corner is all about standards. It is all about how, what, and why we need standards in our lives. So what are standards? Standards are our standard operating procedure. They drive our actions. Much like purpose drives our life direction, the standards drive your actions to attack that life direction. And we need the combination of the two. You can't have a purpose and not have standards to live your life to achieve that purpose. And that's the complementary effect of creating standards, living and holding yourself accountable to those standards, and then attacking every day to make sure that we are doing what we say we're doing, going after the things we believe in. And a lot of times what I've found is when we lack standards or we don't hold ourselves to the standards that we set, they impact how we act in situations. And they make it difficult or challenging to choose what the right next step is. That's why standards matter. It eliminates the options, right? We don't want options. We want to act appropriately because this is the standard I've chosen to live my life. One of the standards that I have with my life to help live intentionally is I never hit snooze. I refuse to hit snooze. Now, I want to make sure there's something clear. There are days when I don't set my alarm. Those are the days that I can sleep to whenever I want. But if I choose to set an alarm, that's the time I intend to wake up. I'm getting up. Now, I may lay in bed for a second after I hit off, but I do not go back to sleep. I do not close my eyes. I get myself moving because I need to start my day with a win. And the best way to start my day with a win is to have the standard that I listen to the time and the intention that I have to get up that morning. Day one, alarm goes off, I win, boom, start the day with a win. This is how I start to live my life on purpose. Like I intentionally set my time to get up. I've chosen this time as the time to start my day. Why would I just say, well, no, not really, snooze? And I get that the snooze button is a comfort button for a lot of people. And this is probably rubbing some people in some funny ways. But we need to start to create that purpose, that standard of living, that expectation of this is how I act in certain situations. This is one that I've chosen. And if you follow sports at all, the great sports teams have championship cultures which have high standards of expectation and excellence. They have expectations on how you act in every situation, how you practice, how you show up, what time you show up. All of these things are important. And without them, we allow ourselves to let things slip, let things slide. Oh, it's okay. I didn't do my best today. Raise your standards, raise your challenges, show up prepared and ready to go, and start to live life on purpose. Start to live with intention, start to have higher standards. So how do we build these standards? How do we go about creating proper standards for ourselves? First off, I want to dive into a few examples of what some standards might be for you. I already mentioned one, which is the never hit snooze. One for me is always be on time. I am 100% in control of being on time. I hate when I'm late because it's my fault. Yes, I understand traffic happens. Yes, I understand things come up. But it's on me to prepare myself to be ready to show up to the things that I'm putting into my schedule and into my life on time with focus and purpose. And without having that attention to detail to show up on time, to show up on purpose, I'm letting that slip. Another thing that I really dive into to try to make sure that is one of my standards, that I do what I say I'm going to do. And that kind of relates to being on time. If I say I'm going to be somewhere, I need to show up like I said I would, and I like to be on time because there's nothing worse than showing up late and being a disruption to the thing that's going on. Another standard that I live is tell the truth. Even if it hurts, even if it's not comfortable, be good at telling the truth. So these are a few of the standards that I've created for my life. You need to think about the things that you want to live your life by. What matters to you? What are things that you don't want to compromise on? And then write them down. You need to write them all down, because when you put them on paper, when you have them in front of you, you create this system of lists of things to follow. It's a lot easier to show up, especially early on. Now, I've had these standards for long enough that I don't have them readily in front of me. I do have this note here though. So this is kind of fun. This sticky note is on my computer right here. And it has a list of things that are standards of how I operate with going after my goals, my life, my business, right? I need these things. I need to know why. I need to have clear goals. I need to focus attention, own my mindset, embrace change, and be resilient. These are standards for me. If I don't know the answer to these, if I don't have a solution for those, I'm not living to my expectation of what I expect from myself. So what are things that matter to you? Make sure that you have them written down in front of you and always available until you get really good at them. Because the truth of it is when you write them out, they will evolve over time. Because once you get good at it, you'll want to raise them. You'll want to make something more challenging. You'll want to be more specific than what you already have. So give yourself room to play with that. The other thing that I think is extremely important after you have your standards set is make sure you're willing to hold yourself accountable to those standards. It does you no good to set a standard that has a little wiggle room in it. You know, if you have a standard of never hit snooze, and then the weekend comes and you go, except on the weekend, that's not a standard. That's a suggestion. That's an option. Choose standards that are all the time. There's no off days. There's no exceptions to the rule. Those are the standards you want to notice, to accentuate, to prioritize. You can always have sub rules, but those aren't standards. Those are just things that kind of fizzle in the background. The standards never change. They are set. They're in stone. This is how I live my life. They're your 10 commandments. Once you have them, be ready to hold yourself accountable to them. This is extremely important because without accountability, you don't go anywhere. And this is very important in a team setting. So one of the things that we had happen this last week that I was talking about is we had a couple kids that didn't understand the communication standard. They missed practice. There was a punishment, and the coach and I were talking about what that punishment should look like. After we went through what the punishment was, I looked at him and I go, now tell me, is this the expectation and standard for everyone? Or is it because this person also may have done other things? Are you willing to do this same treatment to the athlete who's your favorite? Because let's be honest, we all have favorites and people that we want to see succeed and win. We want all of our student athletes to win, but you know what I'm saying? There are always going to be people that you don't want to see get punished because they do a lot of the things the right way, but they messed up this one time. And then there's always the athlete who kind of walks that line of doing it wrong and doing it right. And then you're like, okay, well, you deserve this. If the person you like, who you don't want to see punished, does something wrong, are you willing to do the same for them? And we agree that this is the standard. This is the expectation. And then this is what the punishment is for everyone, no matter who you are or what the reason is. And then we move forward. The next piece of all this that I think is extremely important is to give yourself some grace. You're going to miss on a standard. There are no perfect people. We all make mistakes. We're human. But never miss twice. Missing once happens. Accidents happen. I've been late. I didn't like it, but I was late. But I promised myself that I wouldn't be late again for that same reason. I will not miss twice. That will never be the reason that something happens again. And that's the part of it that when you start to live to these standards, you start to understand that I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to mess up, but I'm never going to make that mistake again because I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to apply myself and I'm going to grow from it. And when you start to do that, you start creating these new standards. You start creating and building these habits, and you start to develop and grow how you approach every single day. Spend time this week diving into what your standards are. Spend time developing how you want to live your life. And make sure you start to become intentional. Because when you do this, when you have standards, when you do all these things, you start to live life on purpose and you have a reason for all the things that you do. So I hope this has been helpful because I think that without having these standards, success is very hard. So take some time, develop these things, drive them home, and figure out how they fit into your life. And we'll come back to this eventually in a later episode to kind of help dial in some of the details. But for right now, I want to mention one of my sponsors. I would like to say thank you to Go Primal Lifestyle and Fitness Apparel. They are an incredible apparel line of active wear for those who need to be their best, for those who need them the most. Go check them out, Go Primal Fitness, and use promo code. There it is. Be great. Use promo code Be Great for 10% off and get your lifestyle fitness apparel from Go Primal. We will continue this with a world of greatness right after these commercial breaks.
What's up, everyone? This is Chris Fontana, founder of Go Primal Lifestyle Fitness Apparel and host of the Primal Mindset Show on NGBN TV. Coming to you from Long Island, New York, with the transformative show that shares inspiring stories of overcoming adversity and embracing personal growth. Hosted by me, who has triumphed over immense challenges, including addiction, mental health struggles, and significant weight loss. This show features conversations with individuals who have conquered their own obstacles. Through heartfelt discussions, the Primal Mindset offers hope, guidance, and inspiration to listeners, encouraging them to persevere and never settle. Join us on this empowering journey of resilience and transformation as we share the stories of incredible individuals who have embraced the power of the Primal Mindset. Join us on NGBN TV.
One week after launching our exclusive sneak peek, NGBN TV was live for 3 days of continuous coverage from Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas.
NGBN TV is live from Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58.
The one-of-a-kind streaming TV network for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s was the conversation for the big game about men's mental health. In the world of athletes, celebrities, and influencers, we're on notice. But we're just getting started with new partnerships announced like the Team Nike 3-on-3 Championship and new platforms available to download the NGBN TV app. So, what are you waiting for? Download the app today from your favorite streaming device or check us out at ngbn.tv. This is NGBN TV.
Hello and welcome back to the Edge of Greatness. I'm excited to dive into today's world of greatness and mention a very special person. He is an incredible young man. He's an incredible athlete. He's somebody that I was very, very lucky to spend time training when he was in high school, and I've worked with him throughout as his college career has progressed in different capacity. But his name is Dwayne Carter, and he is a 3-time captain for Duke football. He's the only 3-time captain for Duke football in their history. But he recently got invited to the NFL Combine. And if you're watching this live here, the NFL Combine is taking place this weekend. And he is doing his events Thursday. So it will have been a few days from now. But I would really think that it would be great if you're watching the show to go on there and send him a message of encouragement. He's an incredible man. He's a shining example of high standards and living to them. And that's why I wanted to highlight him today, because a lot of young people get distracted by the shiny parts of life. They don't have a clear vision, and they don't have clear standards of how they want to live their life and where they want to go with it. And he has always been somebody who has been driven with purpose, focused on what he wants to get, and has gone out and done life like business. And it's paid off for him, because now he's got an opportunity to compete at the NFL Combine for a chance to go fulfill his dreams. But when other people are out doing stupid things, he's focused. When other people are not doing their work, he is. He never cuts corners. He stays grounded. He does things like a leader should. And because of that, people follow him. He's somebody that when I look at what he's done and who he is, it's not the accomplishments that I'm excited about. It's about the man he's becoming. And I keep telling people that, if my kids show up to be half the man he is, and they grow into becoming this person that is a leader, confident, and purpose-driven, I'll be extremely excited and happy about that development. So I can't say enough about this guy. He is actually the voice at the beginning of my intro. So when you hear "Be a Sponge" and then "Bring the Juice," that's my man. That's Dwayne. So, like I said, go give him a check. Check him out on Instagram. Check him out on Twitter. He's more active on the Instagram side of things, especially right now with the Combine coming up. You can get some behind the scenes views of what's happening over there. Dwayne Carter's his name. You'll find him if you search. And I definitely think that he's worth paying attention to. I think he's going to do things wherever he ends up in his community. He's going to make it better. And he's, again, a shining example of creating high standards, living to those standards, and then raising those around him to live to those standards as well. So as we wind down today, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time to join me. I know you could be a lot of places and you choose to be here with me, and that means a lot. I try my best to make sure that I continue to bring high quality content to you, but I would love it if you would share what matters to you. What are some things that you're struggling with? What are some things that you want to get better at? Because the more direction and feedback you give me, the more I can tailor the content of this show to address some of the things that you might be struggling with. So shoot me an email, charles@theedgeofgreatnessproject.com. You can connect with me on any of my social platforms. Coach Schultz on X, Edge of Greatness Project on Instagram. DMs are open, so feel free to drop a line there if you don't want to shoot me an email. But I want to hear from you. I want to know what's going on in your life, how I can help in any way. And let's keep taking steps closer to greatness. Let's keep moving that needle forward every day, because that's what it's all about. It's a journey. We don't get there today. We get there 100 days from now. We get there 1,000 days from now. We get there 10,000 days from now. It's a process. Don't expect to be perfect. Don't expect to get it right on day one. Let's just keep inching forward. Let's keep making the steps necessary. And eventually we're going to find ourselves exactly where we're supposed to be. And that's the powerful part about this. This is the part where the standards come in. When you live your life with those standards, eventually you'll reach the level of expectation that you have set for yourself. So keep living on purpose. Keep reaching for the stars. Fall flat on your face. But remember, whenever we fall, always get up.